Hi, greetings everyone, and welcome to the second event in FinCity.Tokyo's Global Networking Series. My name is Justin, and I'll be the facilitator for today's event. So the goal of today's session is to connect foreign companies to the local ecosystems in Japan and provide access to necessary information and infrastructure. Today's event will be held in two parts. In the first part, details of public support that is available to fintech and asset management companies will be described by representatives from FinCity.Tokyo, the Financial Services Agency of Japan, and the Business Development Center Tokyo. Part 2 will introduce Japan's ecosystem and financial industry trends and feature speakers from FinnoLab, J-Career Co. Ltd., Atsumi & Sakai Law Firm, and Japan Asset Management Platform Group. So at any time during today's session, please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A box. And we will address as many questions as we can towards the end of each speech. And for questions that we're not able to address, we will try as much as possible to get to those inquiries via email at a later time. But please feel free to submit your questions at any time. So with that, I will turn it over to our first speaker, Naomi Takegoshi, Relationship Manager from FinCity.Tokyo, who will provide an overview of the support ecosystem to help foreign firms settle in Tokyo. Ms. Takegoshi?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think we're ready to go. Thank you very much for the intro. I'm Naomi Takegoshi, Relationship Manager for FinCity.Tokyo. My objective of this talk is to give you an overview of how FinCity.Tokyo work with the parties to promote the common goal of promoting Tokyo as a financial center, and also to introduce the wider ecosystem of the support that's available in Tokyo. We have some speakers after me from BDC Tokyo and Financial Services Agency of Japan, and also some guests from the private sector. So I very much hope that my talk will give a background for their presentations. So can I go to the first slide, please? Okay, so FinCity.Tokyo, who are we? We were established last year in April as a public-private promotional organization to progress the Global Financial City Tokyo initiative. We are funded both by Tokyo Metropolitan Government and private sector members, whom we have about more than 40 members now, consisting of large mega banks, but also of startup firms. And also we have some foreign company members, such as Aflac, Morgan Stanley, Schroders, etc. And our secretariat, as you will see, it's a small team. And naturally, we cannot look after all foreign firms wishing to enter the Tokyo market. Therefore, it's crucial that we work with our various partners. So can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so this diagram sketches out how we work together with the related parties. So Tokyo Metropolitan Government, they have the ownership of the Tokyo as a global financial center agenda. They drive the policy, they've got the budget. And we work alongside them with BDC Tokyo, which is operated by a private company Persona, and EY, who are in charge of the Invest Tokyo program. So if you see TMG, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, in the center, but we are very aware that we want to be joined up, therefore are gathering on a monthly basis to share information, address challenges that we're facing in attracting foreign firms to Japan, to Tokyo, and we want to work very much as one team to promote Tokyo as a financial center. You will be hearing from BDC Tokyo later. Okay, shall we go to the next slide, please, then? Okay, so this diagram, it's very crowded, but this is an attempt by me to map out what support there is to address the kind of questions that foreign companies like yourselves would have in mind when looking at the Japanese market. So if you go to the center of these circles, yeah, you've got a foreign company wondering about the various challenges, the things that they have to address. Broadly, this is not exhaustive, but broadly, I think there are the four big pillars here. Firstly, business development. Is there a market for my business in Japan? How do I go about entering the market? Do I partner with partner firms? That kind of business development related questions. And then going to the left, the company establishment, obtaining the appropriate license, visa requirements, etc. All things legal, I suppose, would come under the next segment. And then if you have a Japan operation, so who's going to run it? How do I find my country manager? How do I hire people? What are the labor requirements, insurance requirements as an employer that I have to fulfill? That kind of staffing and HR related questions. And then finally about locating your office in Tokyo. I know this is not exhaustive. There are issues like tax, for example, that also needs to be considered. But yes, let's look at these questions. And I've put FinCity.Tokyo's logo in the center. That's because there are various parties tagged in this diagram. FinCity.Tokyo, I consider my role very much as signposting. So a company comes to us and think with them who would be the best source of advice for them to consult. So very much consider as a signposting role, first point of contact. Yeah, so, okay, we've got these questions. And now let's look at the circle immediately around the circle with the questions. So, okay, let's look at business development. Because I think the parties that I described in an earlier slide, who's involved with promoting companies set up in Tokyo, our emphasis tends to be more on the actual setting up in Tokyo, as opposed to helping companies find business opportunities. But there are organizations who can help with that. EY's Invest Tokyo program, it's a very all-encompassing kind of end-to-end program, which also looks at the business opportunities and how you should plan your business in Japan. And the embassies, foreign embassies and chambers of commerce, they often have an active trade development team and who are well plugged into the local industry to help firms of their countries to enter the Japanese market. And in terms of developing business, you probably want to be building contacts. Sadly, with COVID-19, it's less feasible nowadays to do networking events where we have foreign companies like yourselves come to Tokyo and swap business cards, etc. But some of them are being delivered on online format. Well, today's event, well, it is a webinar rather than networking, but it does enable you to build contact with some of the people involved in helping foreign firms. I've put down TAMF. This is an abbreviation of Tokyo Asset Management Forum, which has been an event held by Tokyo Metropolitan Government with the partners. And also at the end of today's event, EY colleagues will be talking about some of the future series of this events where firms would have opportunities to connect with the local contacts here. So that was about business development. Let's go left to the left top segment. Okay, company establishment and licensing. We are fortunate later to hear from BDC Tokyo. There are also, you probably would have heard a lot of these acronyms. JETRO, TOSBEC. JETRO is Japan's, is like the Japan's inward investment agency, running the Invest Japan program. I would definitely recommend you to look at their website because it has a wealth of information on how you go about setting up a company, very comprehensive information in English. And also on JETRO, I'd like to flag up JETRO IBSC, which you will see at the right bottom circle as well. But that's the JETRO International Business Support Center. It's like an incubation office. Foreign firms with an intention to set up in Tokyo, they get office space for up to 50 days free of charge. You will have to go through JETRO's office in your country. They have overseas offices, or through headquarters, to be screened and to be to have a discussion on your plans, so that they can assess whether you can take advantage of this this office. TOSBEC, it stands from Tokyo One-Stop Business Establishment Center. They also provide detailed information and advice to foreign firms, and this is free of charge. And on registration as a financial instruments exchange firm, suppose the listeners who come from the asset management industry, they would have a strong interest in the appropriate registration criteria under the Financial Instrument and Exchange Act. BDC-Tokyo, that's one area they have expertise. I have accompanied some, online, some companies to get advice from them. And I'm also delighted that we have a speaker later from the Financial Services Agency, our financial services regulator, who are completely on board on the need to get to attract foreign firms to invigorate Japan's financial services industry. So they have a support desk consultation for asset management, and also there's a fintech help desk, I believe. And from my experience in helping foreign companies have interviews, meetings with BDC-Tokyo and FSA support desk, I think it is crucial that firms would have done some homework, thought about what it is that they want to do in Tokyo clearly, so that the meeting is beneficial for both sides, for you and FSA or BDC-Tokyo. Okay, so that was about the legal aspect. Sorry, you'll probably see the squares at the outside, but I shall cover them in a minute, because there are some private sector providers listed there. And next, on staffing and HR, yes, how you go about hiring people. There are, of course, recruitment agencies, but finding the right person at the right time, there is, I think, an element of probability and luck. So it's having your good personal network, I think that's also crucial. So therefore, I have put down things like SNS. LinkedIn usage is not as prevalent as it is here in Japan compared to some of the other markets, but still LinkedIn, I think people who use Japan-based people who use them, they would usually have a outward focus in outlook in thinking their career. So I would consider it worthwhile to network, particularly when you cannot come to Japan physically through SNS. There's also there are also recruitment online platforms, like examples like Indeed. Wantedly is a Japanese platform. I have used them in my previous career when I was searching for staff. Of course, there are the free version and the chargeable service, depending on the level of service that you would like to have. from these platforms, LinkedIn too. And networking events, again, this is something that you would be able to take advantage if people can travel freely to Tokyo. I think meeting people, getting introduction, that is quite crucial in finding candidates, as well as using the services offered by the specialists. And in this segment at the very top, I've got Tokyo Employment Consultation Center. This is, again, a public sector outlet where you can obtain advice on employment and employers' obligations, etc., that kind of labor-related issues. So finally, on office space, I've mentioned JETRO IBSC earlier in terms of the public sector offer. So this diagram, the circle that I've covered right now, that represents more of the public sector offer or public sector related offer. Let's move out where I've kind of listed the private sector offers. And some of the people will be presenting today, starting from business development on how you develop your business. Of course, there are the consultants who can help you, accelerators. We will have Shibata-san from FinLab speak later. And in the case of FinTech, you have plug and play as well. There are also other accelerators. And of course, there are commercial events, maybe less of the face-to-face events, but a lot of the larger exhibition. Like last week, we had CTEC, a tech event, ISUM. These events are being delivered on online format. So taking part in commercial events, that would also help you develop your network, get your name known. Company establishment licensing, these are moving on to the left. We will be hearing later from Atsumi and Sakai law firm lawyer. They're the Bengoshi, Japanese lawyers, Bengoshi, you'll hear the word a lot, Bengoshi firms who provide Japanese legal advice, but they're also a category of legal professions, which are probably very unique to Japan, and you might be hearing about them. So just mention, I won't go into detail, but just mention that they're the Shihou Shoshi lawyers, Gyosei Shoshi lawyers. These lawyers tend to have a remit on furnishing paperwork. In the case of Shihou Shoshi lawyers, to go to the Legal Affairs Bureau, Gyosei Shoshi lawyers to go to administrative agencies. So we're talking about things like visa documents, immigration documents, or company incorporation, or the document or registration under the Financial Instrument and Exchange Act. Okay, and moving down to staffing and HR, we'll be hearing later from a recruitment company. And there are also recruitment online platforms that I mentioned the free version, but there are, of course, the ones where you receive more more in-depth support according to how much you pay. I suppose social labor consultants, again, this is Japanese profession, sharoshi. These are the people who are specialists on employment law and employers' obligations. And finally, moving on to the office space area, again, this is where there are a lot of private sector, as you would imagine, offer. Companies can probably start from working with accelerators, or there's increased presence of serviced office co-working space in Tokyo as well. That's where you have, I should say, a shorter term commitment, whereas if you're kind of going for proper full office tenancy, of course, the initial investment is higher. But there are real estate companies who are aware of attracting fintech or asset management firms. And for example, where FinCity.Tokyo is housed, we are in an office complex called FinGate, which is run by Heiwa Fudosan, which is a private sector firm again, and it's being shared by 10 or so asset management firms. So there are other offers by other large Japanese real estate firms, Mitsubishi, Mitsui, just to name a few. So if you look at the private sector offer, there is, as I was saying, from monthly shared co-working space to your very first class office in central Tokyo. So yeah, that was the canter through of the Tokyo ecosystem, both looking from the public sector to what offer there is in private sector, just to set a context for the speakers who will be talking after myself. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Takegoshi. If possible, I'd like you to answer one of the questions that we have from the audience, which is, if I don't understand whom I should contact first, who would be the first contact point? So is that
okay.
FinCity?
Yes.
Is it okay to ask FinCity for that?
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, today, given the FinCity event,